Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about relapse prevention planning and addiction counseling, what the 5 pillars are, and things that we should just generally take into consideration when we're relapse prevention planning with a client. So first, let's talk about what relapse prevention planning even is in addiction counseling. So relapse prevention planning is a proactive process that happens between a counselor and a client, where the counselor helps the client to identify high-risk situations, triggers, or any potential warning signs of a relapse. Relapse prevention planning also takes that a step further. It helps the client to identify any potential coping skills, grounding techniques, support systems that might be in place to help the client to get through those potential high-risk situations or temptations that might come along the way. So in relapse prevention planning, not only are we identifying the potential high-risk situations, those potential triggers, those things that could happen, but we're also identifying what are coping skills, support systems that could be used when these things happen to help that client get through the situation without it leading to a relapse. So let's review the 5 pillars of relapse prevention planning. The first pillar is identifying triggers. As counselors, we want to help our clients to identify both internal and external triggers. Internal triggers are anything that happens within the body. So an example of that might be a memory or emotions. External triggers are anything that happens outside of the body. So this is usually people, places, things, situations. We want to help our client to identify both. That way we can create a plan to deal with those should they arise. The second pillar of relapse prevention planning is developing coping skills. Coping skills are healthy tools that help the client to deal with these triggers as they arise. So examples of this might be mindfulness, breathing techniques, grounding techniques, exercise, journaling. In our relapse prevention plan, not only do we want to identify what potential high-risk situations or triggers might be there, but we also want to help our client to develop a plan for managing or coping with those triggers should they arise. The third pillar of relapse prevention planning is developing a positive support network. So we want to make sure that our client is not feeling isolated in their recovery and that they have positive support around them, whether that be positive support from family members or friends, the 12-step community, such as working with peers in recovery or maybe a sponsor, or maybe additional supports outside of that, such as supports at work, school, or other supports in the community. The fourth pillar of relapse prevention planning and addiction counseling is creating an emergency plan. What happens if these triggers actually happen? What happens if I experience an intense urge? What happens if a relapse actually does occur? Who can I call? Where can I go? What can I do? We really want to help our client come up with a tangible, realistic plan so that way when they are faced with adversity or challenges, they know what to do next and who to reach out to. The fifth pillar of relapse prevention planning and addiction counseling is accountability and routine. We want to help our clients by walking them through what day-to-day routine is going to look like now that they're in recovery. What are established routines that they have? How are they going to check in? Who's going to help to hold them accountable? How are they going to self-monitor their progress? These are all things that we want to help our clients to take into consideration as they take this next step in their recovery. Relapse prevention planning is often called the cornerstone of addiction counseling. And that's because it is so important for us to prepare and not just to be retroactive when things happen. We want to make sure that we are proactive with our clients. So we want to make sure that our clients understand that there's a plan in place, that they know what that plan is, and they know how to enact that plan should they need to. So thanks for joining me today to talk about relapse prevention planning and addiction counseling. I'll see you next time on Therapist Things with Dr. King.